Every business is limited by its leadership. I've worked with over 3,000 entrepreneurs around the world. Most of them were gym owners, the most self-motivated people on the planet. But I've also worked with business owners across industry, and I'm confident that this pattern shows up everywhere. Good systems, good operations, a great product, even a great team. These are the floors and the walls of the business. You have to have them. But what limits a business growth is the leader, because the leader is the ceiling. The leader determines how high the business can actually rise. Now, what causes the leader to limit the growth is it's not because they're not hardworking. I've never met an entrepreneur who couldn't work hard or hustle or grind when they had to, but they might be limited by beliefs about money or success that they were taught by their parents. They could be limited in their mindset by their education. They could be limited in their leadership of others by their lack of experience in managing other people. And they could be limited in their faith in themselves because they've only ever been a consumer before. Here's how this shows up. I can tell an entrepreneur exactly what to do, step by step, the proven path, but they might find a reason not to do it. Maybe they just want to get more evidence before they act. Maybe they're just too busy. Maybe they don't believe in themselves. Maybe they say that they don't have the staff right now, or quite often they'll say something like, my situation is different. These are all stories that the entrepreneur is telling themselves to stop themselves from taking action that will grow the business, because they have to grow themselves first. And that is really uncomfortable. Now, when I say they, I don't mean that I am absent of these challenges. Of course I am. Every business that I've ever run has been limited by my leadership, not limited by the staff, not limited by the marketing, limited by my leadership. I was always the cap, the linchpin that stopped a business from growing further. We all are. Every leader is. Let's talk about the easy, hard stuff and the hard stuff in your business, because there's easy, hard stuff and there's hard stuff. Easy, hard stuff is showing up at 4 a.m. and mopping. It's working on the weekends. It's grinding. You complain about it. You hate it. You're legitimate in complaining about it and hating it, but you do it. That's easy, hard. The easy, hard stuff is done and people on the outside see it, right? It looks noble. We can tell ourselves that we're martyring ourselves for our business, that we're working hard, that somebody's going to pay off, whatever. People accept that we can't come to the beach, can't come to the birthday party because we're doing this hard thing, right? That's what makes it easy, hard. The hard is joining groups of other entrepreneurs. It's going out and introducing yourself to your neighbors. It's asking people if they want to buy your thing. It's doing cold outreach. It's publishing your ideas where everybody can see them. The hard stuff is always done on the inside because nobody sees it and says, good job. I'm talking about things that require courage, resilience, patience. And in fact, other people, when they see you doing these things, they might see it and say, why are you so greedy? Or that guy's a millionaire. Why can't I get a raise? Or easy for him to say, he doesn't have to worry about his car payment. Or they leave you a 1-star review. The difference is that easy, hard stuff is visible labor. It's noble. It appears courageous. Hard stuff is invisible leadership, and that is the stuff that matters. We no longer learn self-leadership from religion or school or sports or our first jobs or our parents. That doesn't happen anymore. We don't have to go out and earn the money to buy our own stuff anymore. It just magically appears on our doorstep when we use our credit card. We don't ever hear, you need to try harder if you want to make the team, or you need to do better next time if you want to keep your job. Nobody can say those things anymore because they're so scared of the fallout. So we don't get self-leadership from books, the ability to act with courage, resilience, and these other hard things that I'm talking about. We get self-leadership skills and resilience from trying stuff, reflecting on it, that's key, tweaking it, and then trying it again. The process of developing self-leadership is like the scientific method. You have to look at yourself as the ultimate science experiment. You must become a true student of self to become a true leader of yourself and then a true leader of others. So here's what self-leadership actually is. It's self-reflection. This might be called meditation. It's watching your thoughts go by without judgment. It's self-examination. It's taking a personal inventory to see whether you're actually doing better or worse and pausing and being objective, as objective as you can be. It's planning instead of ruminating. It's optimism instead of pessimism. It's journaling. It's physical exercise. It's practicing name it to tame it, getting better with your self language. It's accepting feedback, both positive and negative, and making a plan to improve either way. And there are many more. I will say that accepting positive feedback is very hard for most entrepreneurs. One of the hardest exercises I've ever done with one of my leadership coaches was sitting across from a peer and letting them praise me for 2 minutes, just accepting it, not saying, oh, no, you're exaggerating, or oh, thanks, but I'm not that great. Actually accepting their praise for 2 minutes. And then when the tables were turned and I had to give him praise for 2 minutes, he couldn't even hold eye contact. It's so hard. But when it comes to negative feedback or criticism, we accept that. It's the word of God because we're so used to hearing it from ourselves in our own head that we assume that it's true. Now, how do we improve self-leadership? I'm not going to write a book about it. There are so many books on leadership out there that talk about the easy, hard things, the things that are outwardly visible to others, the things that other people will understand. If you say, oh, I'm going to go into the forest for 24 hours and I'm going to walk 50 miles with a weighted pack on my vest, on my back to improve my leadership skills, people will see that and they won't necessarily understand the connection, but they'll see what you're doing. If you say, I'm going to go off by myself into the forest for 24 hours and think, people are really going to wonder what's wrong. They'll ask you, what's wrong? They'll ask, should they call help? Should they be worried? So instead of writing a book about it, I built a guided journey at leadyourself.ca. It's about 180 days of daily prompts. Every morning, you're going to get one prompt to say, tell me about this. And it encourages the act of guided meditation. You learn to watch your thoughts. You learn to become the objective observer of your own self. You become a serious student of self. Each one of these prompts is a small experiment in self-leadership, and they will actually guide you to become a better self-leader over time too. They're sequential. So let me give you a few examples. Day one, you're going to do something that's called a mirror check. Now, these are not just knowledge. Here's what you should know about being a better leader. They are exercises. Do this today. So the first one is a mirror check. Look at yourself in the mirror for 60 seconds. Ask, what am I feeling right now? Hold your own eye contact. And then ask yourself the 5 whys. Why am I feeling that way right now? Why did that happen? Why am I telling myself this story about it, etc.? Don't try to fix anything about your thoughts yet. Just notice them. Self-leadership starts with awareness and your ability to eventually become objective to your own thoughts. You can't change what you won't face, though. Day 9, we have an exercise that's called replacing the narrative. Now, these prompts come to you every single day and they build, they're sequential. By day 9, we're going to start, instead of just recording that narrative, it's replacing the narrative that actually goes on in your head. So you need to look at your thoughts for the day, find one victim thought, something like, oh, this always happens to me, or it's that person's fault this is happening. And then rewrite it as an empowered statement. So you can say, I can't control them, but my response is, and victim stories that are going on in your head drain energy. Authoring stories restores your energy and gives you a clear path forward. If I jump ahead another week to day 16, I've got something called the choice point. When a stressful moment appears, you say to yourself, I have a choice here. And then you pick the response that aligns with your values. Recognizing choice over time turns into deliberate ones. And then if I jump way ahead to day 86, I've got something that's called the pause button. In a stressful interaction, pause for 5 slow breaths before responding. The pause converts reactivity into deliberate action. You reclaim choice mid-moment instead of reacting and then try to fix things later. Now, these aren't just feel-good exercises. They're scientifically backed practices that build the internal capacity to lead yourself first and then others. It's like progressive overload training in the weight room, but for your mind and your self-leadership. Now, there are other realms of leadership. You've got to lead other people, your team, the people who work for you. You've got to lead your peers, your partners. Eventually, you might even want to be able to lead a tribe. These are all important skills and they're separate skills, but self-leadership is the foundation because none of your staff are going to take out the garbage if they see you not taking out the garbage. You have to be able to lead yourself first. It's the foundation for everything else. If you can't control your emotions, your team won't take your instructions. If you can't get over your fear of going first and introducing yourself, you will never get anybody to go with you. If you can't learn to publish your thoughts publicly and share them, you won't build a tribe that grows without you. So self-leadership comes before everything else, and then things stack on top. So I've got something for you. First is an assessment. Go to leadyourself.ca leadyourself.ca/assessment and take the free test of the 8 dimensions of mental health. Start there. It takes about 5 minutes. It helps you be objective about your own mindset and your own thoughts. And it shows you exactly where you're strong and where you need to be focused on improvement. Then you start the daily practice. You start the journaling with the prompts that I give you on leadyourself.ca. Treat yourself as a science experiment. Try it for 90 days and see what changes. You have nothing to lose. And then watch what changes in your life because your business can only grow as much as you do.